You're watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.
Wayne Fontes and the Detroit Lions have been playing a game of field position so far in this second half, and they've been looking for a break. Well, they just got that break with a short McJulian punt, giving them the ball on Green Bay's 30. Critical they score here. Remember, that same win that Green Bay had such a problem with in their last possession will be in Detroit's face in the fourth quarter. They have to score here in the third while they have the win.
There are 5 minutes remaining in the third. Lions trailing by 3, 10-7. Kramer looking for Clark. Incomplete as Jerry Holmes, the ex-Lion, had his hands on the ball.
And how many times have we seen that today? Defensive backs, be it Vinnie Clark or Leroy Butler or Jerry Holmes, getting in here at the last minute in front of a pass intended for a Lion receiver, timing the leaps perfectly and knocking these balls away.
Master technician Jerry Holmes. No ounce of fat anywhere.
Where is Barry Sanders in the Detroit offense in the last couple possessions?
Excellent question. 2nd and 10. Incomplete again. And no flag on the play as Joe Fuller, the second-year player out of Northern Iowa, defends that one.
Well, we asked where Barry Sanders was. Well, on that last play, he wasn't pass blocking. He was going out or trying to go out for a little short drop. Watch Lester Archambault right here, number 74, and what he does to Barry Sanders. Barry, you think you're going out for a pass? No, I think not. Come here. I want to talk.
Barry Sanders, 2 carries, no gain at all thus far. 3rd and 10. Lions, 3 of 9 on third down conversions, and Sanders slips. Flags on the play, and Sanders gang tackled behind. A loss of 5. Tony Bennett along with a little hand from Reggie Bennett. No relation.
Remember, that flag is down, and Green Bay is taking Detroit completely out of their game right now. Holding penalty against Detroit.
Holding, 53 offense, penalty decline, 4th down.
That was Kevin Glover. The Lions started off with good field position. Not the case now.
Watch Glover right here in the middle, working against the Asera Tuaolo. One of the problems with a running back that wants to move around a lot is you get caught in bad positions. That wasn't a case of getting caught in bad positions. That was a case of being beat by a quick nose guard, and Kevin Glover had to grab him and bring him down.
7th punt coming up of the afternoon for Jim Arnold. And Randy, as you indicated, just a case of field position as you take a look at 2 deep punt returners back for the Packers.
They're trying to prevent these pooches out of bounds that have been pinning them back.
Arnold inside the 10 with this one, a 27-yard punt. Next Saturday here on CBS at 12 Eastern is the NCAA Division I AA Football Championship, featuring Youngstown State against Marshall from Statesboro, Georgia. It'll be coming your way right here next week on CBS. And Green Bay and Minnesota will do battle following that game Saturday afternoon. Lindy Infante hoping to have chalked up another victory.
Little friendlier confines of the Metrodome, the site of Super Bowl this year, will be here on CBS, and probably about 100-degree temperature difference too.
4:19 left in the third quarter play. Packers on the ground as Darrell Thompson runs ahead for only 2. Let's take a look at Lawrence Pete filling the spot that Jerry Ball had anchored so well this season.
Once again, James, the Detroit Lions defense has got to stop Green Bay here. Green Bay dodged a bullet on that last possession, came out, played aggressive defense against the Detroit offense. The pressure and the onus is back on Detroit's defense to get them back the ball and get good field position for their offense.
Pritchett, Spindler, and Owens, the down lineman on defense for the Lions. On 2nd down, and the Packers keeping it on the ground ahead for a few again. Darrell Thompson takes it ahead, it looks like, for a gain of about 5.
Remember what we mentioned earlier, with just now under 3 minutes and 20 seconds to go here in the third quarter. You're looking at a change coming up here for the fourth quarter, where these Packers will have the wind at their back and Detroit Lions will be going into a very stiff wind. A stiff frozen wind, if I can bring that one.
Either way, it's stiff. 3rd and 2.
Great protection.
Complete to Workman for the first down. A flag on a play on the far side of the field at the 18-yard. Terry Taylor is down for the Lions. But there is a flag down on the far side of the field at about the 18-yard mark.
Taylor holding that right knee. It would appear this penalty is going to go against the Detroit Lions.
Defense, offsides, number 97. Penalty refused, first down.
That's Jeff Hunter, the second-year player out of Albany State. And Taylor still down. Taylor came into the game with a foot problem. Limited practice as a result.
Here's Terry Taylor. Keep an eye on what happens here at the end of this play as he tries to front up on Workman, trying to make the tackle.
And look at that right foot.
If that's his right ankle, gets twisted around like that. Ouch.
Randy, you made the point so many times. Friendly fire causes so many injuries.
Injuries in the NFL. You know, in talking yesterday, we were talking specifically about Spielman to Spindler. And Spindler says, you don't need any evidence. Look in the newspaper. Look in Sports Illustrated. There's an example of him hitting me in the back. Happens all the time on defense. Defensive linemen live in fear of linebackers. Linebackers live in fear of DBs. DBs live in fear of linebackers coming in and hitting them. And in this case, it's Taylor bringing down Workman. And there comes Spielman over the top. And that right foot of Terry Taylor gets caught like on the thigh pad of Spielman and gets twisted around.
Taylor has had himself a strong season, a 7th-year player out of Southern Illinois with 4 interceptions coming into the game. And talk about the folks who've been nicked up for the Lions coming into the game.
You know, that looks like you're listing their starting lineup, and that's just the guys that didn't practice this week. And obviously Jerry Ball's on IR. He didn't practice, but his replacement doesn't practice in Lawrence Pete because of back spasms. You got all the linebackers, you got all the DBs. I mean, we're short of one DB on there, and that's only because there wasn't room for him on there. Every defender in Detroit, which is not unusual this time of the year, has got a little injury, and it's keeping him out of practice.
You were complimentary of Wayne Fontes, the head coach, and one of the reasons, Randy, is because of his team's ability to overcome adversity. They've had to do that throughout this season, losing players like Mike Utley, God bless him, Jerry Ball, Mike Kofor, who of course is probably the best all-around defensive player on the team.
That's right. I mean, that's one of the reasons I think Wayne is a leading candidate for NFC Coach of the Year this year. He's doing a great job here in Detroit, but this is their season for the Detroit Lions. They don't want to go into Buffalo next week against Jim Kelly and the Buffalo Bills having to win that ball game and having to win that ball game to stay in the playoffs.
1st and 10 for the Packers. Ball at their own 28. 2:35 left in the third to play. Green Bay on top by 3. Tomczak looking for Ed West just beyond his outstretched arms as the big tight end was defended by Tracy Hayworth. And there is a late flag, that one in the backfield.
Holding, offense, number 57. 10 yards, still first down.
That's Rich Moran, who's been playing some solid football all year long, the left guard for the Green Bay Packers. This is game 1 of doubleheader Sunday here on CBS. Most of you will see in game 2 the Giants taking on the Redskins down in Washington. John Madden, Pat Summerall will have the call. The other game, our doubleheader, will be Phoenix at Denver. But the Washington Redskins, so many people were wondering if Joe Gibbs would allow his guys to take some time off. He said no way.
Not a chance. But I think the story in that game is New York Giants head coach Ray Handley. The fans are chanting, Ray must go. Ray has still got to prove to the fans, and I think to a lot of people, that he can be the long-term coach of the Giants and can handle it.
The bomb was thrown for Sterling Sharp, defended by Melvin Jenkins. And Randy, we got a good indication again of that ball getting hung up in that wind going from left to right, as Sterling did a great job of trying to adjust.
And this will probably be the last possession Mike Tomczak and the Packers have to worry about this wind. It'll be Eric Kramer and the Lions' problem. That looked like a punt that hung up there so long. That had time to turn over.
8 of 21, 91 yards, 1 interception on the afternoon for Mike Tomczak as we take a look at Sterling Sharp coming to the near side. Perry Kemp in the slot. 3 wide receivers for the Packers. Flags on the play.
Spindler jumped again.
Tomczak trying to dive for the first down. I think he's going to be about a half a yard shy, depending upon where they mark it. Yeah, he's going to be short. 18-yard run, but there are flags on the play.
Yeah, and that was Mark Spindler, 92, jumped just before the snap.
Defense, number 92, offside, penalty decline.
We talked about this guy being aggressive, being kind of a crazy football player, but working right here against Hallstrom, the right guard. Spindler, watch him flinch. Goes forward, gets caught in that neutral zone between the offensive and defensive lines. And look at this. Got some room in here you might be able to run into.
Back alive on 3rd and 2. Tomczak nearly caught by Workman. A great one-handed effort by Vince Workman, and guess who was defending him? Chris Spielman, who's all over the field.
And Chris Spielman got away with a great two-handed effort because he was all over Vince Workman's back. Yeah, he can high-five and he can be excited, but that was an awful close one right there.
Leading tackler on this Lions ball club came into the game with 103. So Paul McJulian on for his 7th punt of the afternoon.
And again, James, Green Bay has managed to move this ball out and get it away from the shadow of their own goal line.
Field position again. 1:56 left in the 3rd. Green Bay holding to a 10-7 lead. And McJulian got the handle on the ball finally to get it away. And Mel Gray signaling for the fair catch. Again, a magnificent job to bring it in with the ball caught up in the wind. A 25-yard punt. Lions take over at about the 40.
Well, I associate the NFC Central with this kind of weather. You know, the cold, the blowing, and everything else. And here's what's going on between Detroit and Chicago coming into this game. First, you got overall record, okay? Then head-to-head, that's obvious. That right there is where things are sitting for the Lions and the Bears. And that is their divisional record, where the Chicago Bears have the edge over these Lions.
Play action. Kramer decides to take it and runs up to the 49. A 9-yard run by Kramer, stopped by Brian Noble. He's 1 yard shy of the midfield mark for the first down.
As you see the way things stand, Chicago, after their big victory yesterday against Tampa, 80-something degrees all week in practice, comes to Chicago yesterday, 3 below, and they played like they'd rather be back in Tampa practicing. And Detroit has run into a fired-up Packer team here today that's trying to keep them from going to 11-4.
Sanders finally with the carry. Ahead for maybe 3. Well, Mike Ditka had his team running the ball, what, about 49 times yesterday. He said he would have run it every time if possible.
Remember, this clock is now run down under a minute. Detroit now has 53 seconds left with this aggressive wind at their back.
Trailing 10-7 to Green Bay. Detroit trying to get a victory to get in the playoffs, to secure a playoff spot.
And if you're trying to go into the win, James, and you're trying to have, or you are having a hard time throwing it, you couldn't ask for a better back than Barry Sanders. But I mean, you got to use them if you got them.
1st and 10 from the 49. Complete to Farr. First down, and Farr inside the 35 to about the 33. Stopped by Leroy Butler. 20-yard pass play.
Sometimes you got to take to get. And right here, Kramer takes a shot from Tony Bennett in order to get that ball down there and dump that thing off. And Kramer and the Lions are now going into the wind.
And that's the end of the third quarter with the score. Green Bay 10, Lions 7. Our coverage will continue after this message from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Randy, you know, Tony Mandarich certainly was accustomed to the cold, having played at Michigan State, but boy, he's been by that heater every opportunity. First and 10 for the Lions. Ball at the 32 of Green Bay. Start of the fourth quarter. Farr has the first down.
Completion to Farr.
Mike Farr, the second-year player out of UCLA, with his 6th catch of the afternoon. And boy, he really has grown a lot from last year as a receiver with the Lions.
Wayne's very happy with this crew of wide receivers. And remember, this crew of wide receivers does not include #1 draft choice Herman Moore, who they expect to be back in big next year, and also Reggie Barrett at wide receiver.
Well, Randy, in the correction, they marked it just shy of the first down mark. It was 2nd and 1, but he gets it this time as Barry Sanders takes it for the first down, tackled by Mark Murphy. Well, a 3-11 season for Green Bay, but there have been a number of close calls. It could have been a better season.
Coulda, woulda, and shoulda leads to unemployed if you're a player or a coach.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda. First and 10 from the 19. Incomplete as Clark was the intended receiver. Well, Robert Clark was one of the guys we talked with, and he was not particularly fond of the cold that he was having to deal with today, but said he was going to try to bear it, grin and bear it. 10 of 25 for 106 yards, 1 touchdown on the afternoon for Kramer, and it's 2nd and 10. Ball at the 19. Complete to Sanders. And Sanders with the first down and driven out of bounds at just about the 2. Barry Sanders showing his stuff, a 17-yard play from Kramer to Sanders.
It takes all kinds of offensive pre-planning to come up with this kind of game plan. What do? Well, nothing else is working. Let's just flip this thing out to Barry and let him run. You could just see the frozen field. You see kind of the ice coming up off the field as he's running. Is it slowing down the defense? Yes. Is it slowing down Barry? No.
What did you say? It takes a lot of planning, a lot of thinking. As a matter of fact, Wayne Font said that many people were asking, well, why don't you run more trick plays? And his answer for that,
he says every play Barry Sanders gets the ball. It's a trick play.
First and goal. Ball at the 2. Sanders. And Sanders stopped. Scott Stevens, among others.
You know, Barry Sanders is 5'8", 203. Obviously is a great runner. One of the things he does not do exceptionally well, and there's very few things he doesn't do exceptionally well, one of them is run inside like that in a short yardage goal line type situation. That's just not his forte. I mean, I'm surprised they don't try to flip him out, get him outside, run a quick trap, do something that really blasts in there and takes advantage of his strengths, which are making people miss.
No gain on the play. 2nd and goal from the 2. Sanders. And he's tackled for a loss on a play of about 1. Brian Noble on the tackle.
Right down here by the goal line, these Green Bay Packers are showing you exactly why they're one of the best defenses in the NFL against the run. Brian Noble and that whole group. You see Noble, 91. Reggie Burnett, 55, coming in there. Here comes Chuck Cecil getting a helmet on him. Stevens gets a helmet on him. Good group effort. That was the entire left side of that defense getting in on him. As you see Brian Noble coming out here on this third down. They're anticipating the pass.
8 defensive backs, 3rd and goal from the 3. Touchdown, Detroit to Robert Clark. 6th receiving touchdown of the season for Clark. You think they might have been looking for Barry Sanders?
You saw Green Bay brought Brian Noble out of the game there, brought all the defensive backs in. That was just, here it is, we're going to do it. Okay, we know you're going to do it, we'll defend it, and they couldn't defend it.
And the point after is good, so the Lions move out ahead by the score of 14-10, 11:48 left in the game.
One more time. Green Bay's not showing blitz, they're showing pass coverage, but Robert Clark quickly beats Vinnie Clark to the outside. Little fade pattern, 6 points.
This game summary is sponsored by McDonald's.
It's cold, we know that for a fact. Green Bay has been doing the job in the rushing department and in the sack department, but Barry Sanders, although only 1 rushing yard in the second half, was used at least as a decoy nicely to help Detroit to that touchdown.
Uses a decoy nicely, James. He got 13 yards receiving, but the big 13 yards was down there in the plus 20, getting down there where they were. And we got a fumble.
And the Packers look to have recovered.
Take another look at this touchdown just a little while ago. Robert Clark. The impressive thing is how open he is in such a short period of time. He beats Vinnie Clark right off the line. The gap opens up the further he goes. Great case of a nice move by Robert Clark and poor defense by Vinnie Clark.
Good move by Vince Workman to recover the fumble. Tomczak looking up top. Intended receiver was Woodside, and Woodside was being covered by Melvin Jenkins.
Just because Green Bay has the win at their back, we made a big point of that in the third quarter, but just because they have it at their back doesn't mean they have to go away from what they were doing well. What they were doing well was not throwing the ball. What they were doing well was running the ball aggressively and eating up time off this clock. They're 4 points down. That's no time to panic and start throwing.
2nd and 10 for the Packers. Ball at their own 23. 11:35 left in the game. Packs trailing by 4. Tomczak to pass. Drills it to Sharp, complete. And Sharp is going to be about 2.5 yards shy of the first down. Jenkins and Spielman on the tackle. And where they're marking the ball, looks like he may be about a yard shy. So 9 yards picked up on the play. My goodness.
There's big William Bubba Paris. You know, there's a kind of almost like a Vaseline type grease you can use that seals your skin off. You don't lose heat from your body, and that's what you see Bubba wearing on his face. It's not what you'd call real pleasing to the eye, but believe me, it feels better than going out there without anything.
Let's get it.
Definitely not cosmetically attractive. Thinking comfort and warmth.
This is a Spielman kind of a play. He'll be up there expecting to run from his linebacker spot.
3rd and 1. Play action. Complete, incomplete. Harris had it and dropped it. And Harris, boy, would he love to have that one again.
He was wide open, James, but before that snap, Detroit was trying to call a timeout. And from the looks of how wide open he was, there was a very good reason to why they were trying to call a timeout. First guy in on the right here, Dan Owens. Watch him. He doesn't know what's going on. He's trying to call timeout. Nobody sees him. They go ahead with the play, and look at Harris. No one even near him. Crockett, the nearest guy, 7 to 10 yards away.
McJulian punting with the win, and you can see the difference as Gray is pushed back to the 22 and scoots through. Gray, a foot race.
6 points.
A 78-yard touchdown return by Mel Gray. That is #1 of the season for Gray, a punt return touchdown.
James, the Lions are extremely lucky that whole thing wasn't negated by a poor decision at the end, I think, by Jenkins. Looks like he almost clipped right at the end. As Gray was going in about the 10-yard line, looked like Jenkins almost clips. Watch this thing. It's a great job by the special teams of the Detroit Lions. Frank Gans, their coach, is to be commended for this return. But a bad decision by 24 Jenkins coming up right here on Workman. Watch this. That looks like a push in the back to me. I'm not sure, but I think that was a push in the back.
I think that qualifies. And Murray puts the finishing touches on it as Detroit smelling that playoff berth in front by 11 over the Packers.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Chevrolet, the heartbeat of America, the cars more people depend on. Norelco patented lift and cut shavers. We make close comfortable. And by Miller Lite. It's it, and that's that.
Mel Gray, his longest punt return had been 42 yards. Chalk up a 78-yard punt return for a touchdown.
And he did that with some good blocking and some great natural instincts.
Workman for Green Bay. Driving hard up near the 40.
Once again from our coach's cam on that punt return for the touchdown. Watch Gray go. The critical part, the part they got away with, involves Jenkins, number 24, who is right on the right side there about the 33-yard line. Scott Stevens just crossing the 35. A little push in the back. Would appear to be a clip. The officials didn't think so. That'll.
First and 10. Tomczak throwing complete to Perry Kemp. First catch of the afternoon for Perry Kemp, the fifth-year player out of California University out of Pennsylvania. A 5-yard pickup will bring up a 2nd and 5. 9:50 left in the game as Tomczak and the Packers now trail by 11 to Detroit. Well, that Vaseline looks a little ugly once it starts to cake up, huh?
Not as bad as frostbite does.
Point well made.
Now Green Bay down by 11. Unlike their previous possession, I think they've got to throw.
On 2nd and 5, complete to Sharp. And Sharp is going to be a little shy of the first down. Melvin Jenkins on the stop.
Getting a little help from Mark Spindler, the defensive end, coming in to help finish Jenkins off. You know, he told us, that's my job. I don't care if I'm down on the ground. I don't care if I'm on my back. I will get up. I will run to where the ball is. I'll run 40 yards. And I'll tell you what, I warn my teammates, if I'm running 40 yards, I'm hitting something. It might be you, it might be the other guy, but I'm hitting something.
You love that kind of attitude, especially in a defensive player. He's got a little nick on the elbow there. Pants legs have got blood all over it.
This should be pretty close, but I believe it's a first down.
Well, he got a good spot there. And it is a first down. 5th catch of the afternoon for Sterling Sharp. As you take a look at the other possessions here in the second half for Green Bay, not impressive at all.
Doesn't do much for scoring. The only person on the team it makes happy is McJulian. Gives him a chance to get more punts in.
Lindy Infante once again seeing his team fall behind after playing impressively for stretches. 1st and 10. Ball at midfield. Tomczak with time. Throws it incomplete to Ed West.
A real challenge for these Green Bay Packers, though, James, because the defense they're facing right now is the best in the NFL in giving up points, and not giving up points, I should say, in the fourth quarter. 40
points. That's some pretty fair company that they're in.
Pretty fair company. And a lot of the credit goes to that man there, Wayne Fontes, and his defensive coordinator, Woody Widenhofer, who have put together an impressive unit here in Detroit. It's a group that not only has the speed, but is very physical.
2nd and 10. Flags on a play, stopping the action. Except Mark Spindler. Everybody but Spindler.
He has no off button.
Full start. Offense, number 77, prior to the snap. Still 2nd down.
I don't think there is an off mode with him at all, huh? Tony Mandarich, the culprit. 8:49 left in the game. Lions ahead 21-10. Brings up a 2nd and 15 for Green Bay. Ball on the 45.
Pass protection is going to be the key here for Green Bay for the rest of this quarter. Keeping these Lions off of Mike Tomczak. It's no mystery. These Packers have to throw.
Sheldon White in for a 5th defensive back for the Lions. And Tomczak goes down throwing. Pritchett wanted the sack, but not so. What's taking place around the league? Let's go back to New York and Greg.
All right, JB, at Philadelphia, watch Dallas's Kelvin Martin on the punt return go 85 yards to pull the Cowboys into the lead. Here comes the block of the day. Isaac Hope, boom, on Robert Drummond. Now, if the Eagles lose and Atlanta wins, and they are winning today, and the Saints win tomorrow night, Philadelphia's eliminated, JB. It's 4th quarter.
All right, Greg, and I know you'll keep the audience up to date on all of the playoff scenarios, and there are a few indeed. 3rd and 15 here. Tomczak gets rid of it, and it's incomplete as he throws in the direction of Sterling Sharp, but pressure coming from Kelvin Pritchett.
That's complicated when you start, like Greg talked about. If they win, they're eliminated. You know, Philadelphia is out. For instance, San Francisco, you know, my old team. If Detroit wins today,
and
if Atlanta wins today, if Dallas wins today, and New Orleans wins tomorrow night, they're out.
And say that one more time.
No, sorry. I can't remember what I said.
Atlanta, New Orleans, Dallas, and Detroit all would have to win, and San Francisco would be out. And San Fran has been playing so well.
They have the hottest hand, I think, right now of any team besides Washington.
Jeff Campbell back to receive this punt.
Great bounce.
Not a good kick, but a super roll as it goes out at the 11. Chalk it up as a 45-yard punt. Wayne Fontes upset about the call, but he made no bones about how important getting to the playoffs is for this team.
Well, to our program and to my owner, Mr. Ford, to my executive vice president, Chuck Schmidt, this whole football team. This has been something that we dedicated ourselves for last July when we came to camp. We worked extremely hard. We've gone through tremendous adversities, Randy, and to hold this team together and the way this team has held itself together, I think it's a tribute to our organization, to this young football team, and where we're going. I think the future's ahead of us.
And that was Wayne Fontes talking to our Randy Cross yesterday, and he wants it badly.
He sure does. What he wants right here, though, James, he wants a couple first downs so his offense can punch the ball off and run some of this time off the clock with a little less than 8.5 minutes to go.
From their own 6, 1st and 10, 8:27 left in the game. Sanders, the ball carrier. And Sanders gets up near the 10. Ball marked at the 9, so we'll call it a 3-yard pickup. Well, how optimistic are they in Detroit that they will make the playoffs? Already have printed up playoff tickets. Boy, fans back in Detroit haven't seen that one in a long time.
Not home playoff tickets. You know, they were in '83 and they were in '82, but they were both road games. That's one of the real key, I think, that Wayne Fontes thinks is very important in Detroit, is he's gotten great support from his community and the fans up in the Detroit area. They've been part of the keys to what this Detroit Lion organization and team has done.
2nd and 7 from the 9. Long count by Kramer. Running time off the clock. He'll stay in bounds. And that he did. Boy, right on cue, Randy.
He wasn't about to go out of bounds. Dallas and Philly, plenty of time left in that one. Seattle and Atlanta. Atlanta about to eliminate any glimmer of hope that Seattle had. The Rams, franchise record 9th loss in a row.
Minnesota still alive, indeed.
Minnesota stays alive. Jerry Burns last season. And there's a big one for the AFC. New England, a final over the Jets.
And if Miami wins now, the Jets are out. So the Jets talking about doing a little hoping now. 3rd and 3. Ball at the 13. Sanders. And he did not get anywhere near it.
That Green Bay Packer defense did just what the doctor ordered. And that doctor's Hank Bullough. And he wanted his guys to get out there and stop him and get the ball back for the offense. A little play on words there from the local Green Bay fans.
Creative, but not true.
You've got a Detroit Lion down.
Looks like the rookie Conover.
And if he goes down, that puts Dallafor, who was playing right guard, that puts Dallafor over at the right tackle position for the Lions. And I would imagine that probably put Bones or Roman Fortin in at the right guard position.
Boy, the Lions are limping toward the end of the season. But Randy, if you were to give a grade to Conover on his performance thus far today, it would be?
He does pretty good. There's Sanders, 20 on the back left ankle of Conover, 76, getting in there. And that's where the injury occurred. But, you know, this kid's done a good job. You know, you got to remember, he hasn't had much experience. Comes into a bad weather game like this, playing against, you know, really a pretty big physical kind of guy, and a Matt Brock, a real two-gap stuffy guy. And he also has a possibility of pass blocking one of the better defensive rushers in Tony Bennett. And he's done a pretty good job.
Arnold standing in his own end zone, waiting to punt. And gets a fairly decent one away against the wind as Query is hit on the jump at about the 42. A 34-yard punt by Arnold, an 8-yard return by Jeff Query. Coming up tonight on CBS, 60 Minutes. If you take Halcyon to help you sleep or know someone who does, 60 Minutes has a story that will wake you up and then some. That'll be followed by Murder, She Wrote, and then the CBS Sunday movie Christmas on Division Street. All of that will be coming your way tonight right here on CBS.
There's the big guy Conover getting that ankle wrap back up. That's a good sign when you see it, especially when a running back falls in the back of your leg like that. It's either very serious or not very serious, and it looks to be in the category there's something they can tape up and get him going. I had somebody do that to me in Washington back in 1978, and I broke my ankle.
And you don't remember who that someone was?
Bobby Farrell and Dyron Talbert, but normally don't name names.
I thought you knew. 1st and 10 from the 40. Tom Zach back to pass. Complete to Kemp. And forward progress shows about a 5-yard gain for the Packers.
You saw Crockett, among others, keeping Kemp in bounds also. They didn't want Kemp to get a chance to get away and get out of bounds and stop this clock down.
5:57 left in the game. Green Bay with 2 timeouts remaining. Detroit with 3. And brings up a 2nd and 5 for the Pack. Ball marked at the 36. Lions on top, 21-10. Looking to secure a playoff spot for the first time since '83. Packers with 3 wideouts. Tom Zach running. Does not get to the first down marker. 4 yards gained on the play. Run out of bounds by Kelvin Pritchett. Will be just shy of the first down marker. Coming up next, the doubleheader action right here on CBS. New York Giants at Washington. And Randy, you said it, a big game for Ray Handley, huh?
I really think you haven't read much about it, but I think Ray Handley's in jeopardy in New York. You know, I think what the Giants need is the same thing the Packers need. The Packers need very forceful management, very forceful coaching. Infante has been forceful at times. Wolf will insist on more forceful. Handley has not been forceful in New York.
A good force against the run that time by Detroit's defense, as Vince Workman did not get to the first down marker.
And Tomczak barely gets him the ball here. He slips over Thompson. Thompson slips in front of Workman, and there's a pile of Lions in front of them. An obstacle course that he couldn't quite get around.
And it looked like one of the biggest obstacles was Kelvin Pritchett, who got in there to stop matters. 4th and 3. Green Bay 7 of 11 on 4th down conversions on the season. Complete for the first down to Weathers. Make it 8 of 12. A 22-yard pass from Tomczak to Weathers.
Mike Tomczak gets excellent protection. He's able to do something that Kramer and the Lions weren't able to do in the third quarter, and that's take advantage of this wind by throwing the ball when he gets the chance. Good job by Clarence Weathers. Missed last week's game with the flu. They kept him home here in Green Bay, and looking good right now.
First catch of the afternoon for Weathers. 4:25 left in the game. The clock important for Green Bay, obviously trailing by 11. From the 12, play action. Tomczak. Great defensive job by Ray Crockett. Intended receiver Sterling Sharp. Boy, Crockett has been sharp today.
Not on that one, James. He should have had that. That should have been an interception. That's an example in bad weather. Guys' hands are cold. The ball's cold. We're seeing the receivers come down with the ball, and we're seeing the DBs knock it down. Good reason defensive backs are defensive backs. They don't have the hands of wide receivers. Watch the very end of this. Crockett's got a bead. He's got a chance. That went right through his arms. That should have been an interception and a touchback.
This practice all week with a hamstring problem. On 2nd and 10. Tomczak to Workman. Touchdown, Green Bay, no flags.
How important now is Ray Crockett letting that ball go through his arms. Can't tell you how many times watching football over the years, you get down in this part of the field, defenders don't take advantage of opportunities to get turnovers. Bam, next play. Offense says thank you, puts the ball in the end zone.
Workman with his 3rd receiving touchdown of the season as Chris Jackett comes on for the point after. And it's good. So Green Bay draws to within 4 of Detroit with 4:10 left in the game.
And this was a job of Tomczak taking advantage of his court of last resort. And that last resort was Workman. The zone coverage is fine. Everybody's covered. His running back Workman comes off in the flat. It's up to William White to stop him from getting into the end zone, and he can't do it. Good job. Now what set this up? What that set this up was Ray Crockett right there not being able to make that interception. Next play, Workman gets that touchdown pass from Mikowski.
So if you're Wayne Fonts with 4:10 left in the game and about to receive this kickoff, your strategy would be what?
What it is right now, you look down on the field, James. Detroit is setting up for an onside kick. They've got their hands team on the field. With this much time left, 4 minutes and 10 seconds, I'm a little surprised Green Bay isn't going to kick this ball to Detroit. To take advantage of Detroit's strategy of the third quarter of playing field position with the Packers. The Packers now have the opportunity to play field position with the Lions.
Great. From the 16, slips. And finally is tripped by Harris at about the 21. Packed house else here at Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and the 3-11 Packers playing inspired ball, trailing Green Bay by 4 with 4:03 left in the game. Packers, 2 timeouts remaining. Detroit with 3. Sanders for 1. Second and 9.
Little timeout from Green Bay to break a little momentum up for the Lions. Make them think twice.
Leaving the Packers with 1 with 3:56 left in the game.
Great matchup here, James. You got a running back and a great running back in Barry Sanders trying to run time off the clock and get a first down against one of the best run defenses in the NFL.
Lindy Infante with 1 timeout remaining. Don't forget, coming next, Washington and New York at RFK following this game.
Barry Sanders here today. He's got 24 carries for 85 yards. Sounds good. What kind of a tough defense is he facing right here? That's his 12th carry. That last one was his 12th carry of 1 yard or less. Fine job by Asera Tuaolo, Brian Noble, Robert Brown, the entire front of this defensive unit for the Green Bay Packers.
Complete to Farr, smashed by Murphy. A gain of 4.
Well, I said before, there's a lot of areas the Packers could get meaner, they could get nastier, and they get tougher in. One of them is not safety with Murphy and Cecil back there. And Murphy just puts a bolo on Farr.
And Green Bay just called its last timeout with 3:50 left in the game, trailing the Lions 21-17.
And Green Bay is just loading this game up on this 1 down, James. They're saying 3rd and 5, we can stop you, we can get the ball back. We don't have any timeouts, but if we can get it back now, we have a chance.
The Detroit Lions, playoff hopes riding here, looking to get in and clinch a wild card berth with a victory today. Green Bay looking for a moral victory and job security. 3rd and 5.
If you're Detroit, you want this first. You don't want Arnold kicking into this win.
Complete, but short of the first down as Perryman is knocked out of bounds to stop the clock. Good, smart play by the Packers. Roland Mitchell specifically. So Jim Arnold comes on to punt for the Lions, and there will be 2 players back for the Packers. Vince Workman to the near side and Jeff Query to the far side.
And once again, these Packers are being kicked to by Arnold into a very stiff wind. Arnold will not be able to hang this up high. If he does, it'll be extremely short.
He got a decent one considering the conditions as Query signals for the fair catch. It'll be Green Bay ball at the 32. A 41-yard punt by Arnold. Excellent considering the conditions. Coming up next, the doubleheader here on CBS, the New York Giants at the Washington Redskins. Always a hard-hitting affair. 3:37 left here in Green Bay.
The moon may be out, but the Packers aren't out of this one. This is going to be right down to the wire for the Pack. And if you're a Detroit Lion fan, the one word you don't want to hear right now is prevent. Prevent defenses lose more games than anything else.
Tomczak out of the shotgun and pressure complete to Workman.
Green pass.
And Workman up to around the 39. Stays in bounds. The clock continues to run. A gain of about 6 on the play.
And a good job by Alexander there. They had that screen pass set up very nicely. Alexander got in between the blocking and was able to bring Workman down short of that first down.
Green Bay with no timeouts remaining. Lions with a full complement of 3. A touchdown is needed. Field goal will not win it. Appleton, first down. And Tony Mandarich is down on the field for Green Bay in pain. So that injury will give Green Bay a little time for Tomczak to have a discussion on the sidelines with the coaching staff. Right now, while we've got a break here, let's head back to New York. And they decided to punt, and we'll stay here. New York punted back here to Green Bay. And Tony Mandarich looks to be in a lot of pain. And Keith Euchre, the 8th-year veteran out of Auburn, already on the field to take his place. Well, Randy, once again, to set up the scenario here, Green Bay trailing by 4. A touchdown has to do it. And that's obviously what they're going to be going for. And right now, let's take you back to New York and Greg. And for those of you who thought you were being taken to New York for an update and did not get it, Greg Gumbel was making you aware that Atlanta did come out victoriously against Seattle. Tim McKyer with an interception that he lateraled to Deion Sanders, his good friend in the backfield. So Atlanta continues its winning ways. And Atlanta is thinking AF make that NFC West Division title. They want it.
And if New Orleans loses tomorrow night in a big Monday night game against the Raiders, that gives the Atlanta Falcons the NFC West. Just an amazing story for Jerry Glanville and company. And New Orleans could very well lose that game to the Raiders. The Raiders are a huge team in big national television type games like that. That's the last team you want to try to break a losing streak against, is the Raiders.
Raiders play well on Monday night. 1st and 10. 2:47 left in the game. Tomczak slipping. Nearly intercepted as Benny Blades had a hand on it.
.242 left and 2nd down here. I think the Packers are going about this the right way. Detroit Lions are rushing 4 defensive linemen, dropping 7 defenders, and Green Bay is bringing things underneath the zone. They're not getting greedy. They're not going for the big bombs. They're trying to chew off 15 to 20-yard chunks.
Perry Kemp to the near side. Eric Affolter to the far side. 4 wide receivers for Green Bay. 3rd, make it 2nd and 10. Tomczak looking for Sharp. Incomplete. Jenkins with the coverage. Tomczak with the hip. Let's go back to New York.
All right, JB, now let's tell you about the Atlanta Falcons. It's all over at Fulton County Stadium. Watch David Craig get picked off by Atlanta's Tim McKyer, who laterals to Deion Sanders, and Deion will scamper 52 yards for the touchdown. Atlanta wins it. Seattle is eliminated from the playoffs. If Philadelphia loses, which they are doing right now, 25-13 to Dallas, then Atlanta earns a wild card spot, James.
All right, Greg, and it certainly was a lot better with the highlights. Thank you, Greg. 3rd and 10 here. Complete to Kemp, and Kemp has the first down.
2:25 left. Green Bay wants to get off one more play here before the 2-minute warning.
Tony Mandarich left the field with a left ankle injury. Not certain whether he will return.
Green Bay gets lucky here, gets a timeout by the officials to measure this thing for a first down. That's a worried head coach right there. You saw Lindy Infante being the aggressor. And right now, Wayne Fontes and his Lions very much figuratively and literally the defenders. Just short. Fourth down. Third down. So it's a fourth and short.
In for the Packers on fourth and short.
Green Bay giving every appearance of a pass here.
Workman, the lone back, and the ball carrier.
I don't think he got it, Jay.
Benny Blades was right there for the hit. We'll see where they mark it. Workman is their short yardage man.
All depends on where this ball is being marked, obviously. I think it's going to be just short. Let's watch it again. Green Bay set up like it was a pass. A little sprint draw. But Spielman and Blades were not buying. They're sitting right in the hole waiting for him. Now we'll see how far the chain can stretch, and no.
And hasn't that been the case for Lindy Infante all season long? 2 minutes and 11 seconds remain in the contest. Lions on top 21-17. Green Bay with no timeouts left. Detroit has 3.
Two-minute warning, and that's going to be it. Detroit should be able to run this ball out.
Sanders dropped by Tony Bennett. And we're at the 2-minute mark of the ball game. Lions on top by 4. (21-17). Detroit on top with 2 minutes left in the game. Green Bay, no timeouts remaining. Detroit with 3. Today's game was produced by Bob Monsbach and directed by Kathy Barretto. The NFL Today was produced by Eric Mann and directed by Duke Struck. The senior producer of the NFL on CBS is Ed Gorin, and the executive producer is Ted Shaker. And also a very big thanks to our technical crew who worked long and hard these past couple of days in certainly adverse conditions to make this telecast possible. Giants Washington coming next. 2nd and 13 here for the Lions, and Sanders up to the 45, a 4-yard gain. 1:52 left in the game, and Wayne Fontes hoping to clinch a wild card berth, the first since '83 for the Lions.
Well, these Detroit defenders should not relax too much right now, because Green Bay will get this ball back. Detroit will be unable to get this first down if they're short here. Green Bay will have time on the left for Lindy Infante and his group to try a couple plays.
And this is a 3rd and 9 situation facing the Lions with 1:21 left in the game. Sanders trying to stay in bounds to keep the clock running. And if you're Detroit, Randy, on 4th down to burn some more time out the clock, why not take a delay of game?
That's a smart thing to do. You let this thing run down. You get out there, line up in punt position, let it go down as far as you can get it to go, which would be down to about 21, 22 seconds, and then kick it.
You saw the early score in that Washington-New York Giants ball game, 7-3 Skins on top. You'll be seeing that one coming next here on CBS. That's exactly how the Lions got it down to 1 second, and Arnold punts it away. So Green Bay will take over with the ball at the 11, 9 seconds remaining after that 45-yard punt by Arnold. Wayne Fontes greeting the troops as the Lions look for their 5th consecutive victory and a franchise record-tying 11th win of the season.
And more importantly, though, James, a trip to the playoffs. Wayne Fontes, Chuck Schmidt, 3 years ago, that was their goal, was to get this team into that final echelon, into the big dance, and they're going to be there.
Tomczak to Sharp. But that does it as Green Bay falls to 3-12. While Wayne Fontes and the Lions improve their record to 11-4 and clinch a wild card playoff berth. The first since 1983. Wayne Fontes has his team in the playoffs. So for Randy Cross, this is James Brown saying so long from Lambeau Field, where the final score, Detroit 21, Green Bay 17. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League will continue after this.